On your groups and compounds layer, please get your rectangle tool and just draw a rectangle like this, any color you want. Then get your ellipse tool and draw an ellipse. Like this. And then let's draw a polygon. Remember, you can don't let go of your mouse, and you can do your up and down arrow keys to add more vertices or less vertices. So something like this. Okay, and you can make these. It doesn't really matter what color you make them. All right. So the first thing you want to do is just arrange them so that they're kind of spaced out left to right, kind of like this, as opposed to on top of each other. Okay, now select all of them. Hold on your Option key and drag them so you get a copy of them down here. Okay, so you have basically the same thing. The top ones, select the top ones using your selection tool V and group them. Just go Command G and let's change the gradient on it. So with that thing selected, go to your gradient right here, gradient tool, and you want to apply the type of just linear like this. And then whatever colors you have, you can just double click right here. And if you don't see these, in other words, if they're all gray, you can just click right here on these and you get some swatches. So pick whatever color you want from one side to the other. And then double click on this guy. And then you get a different choice like this. So just pick any two colors. Now notice that the gradient from blue to pink, in my case, blue to pink, each object in the group goes from blue to pink, blue to pink, blue to pink, right? And if I mess around with this shade, you can see that they all change similarly. And then if you mess around with this guy, it changes all of them exactly the same way. All right, so let's, so that's what groups do. Grab this guy and put it in the middle. Now, let's select these guys down here and let's make this into a compound path. So object, compound path, make. Command 8 is something you want to remember. Command 8 is the keyboard shortcut for compound path. So you make it. All right. So now let's apply the gradient to this. So we're going to select this thing and we're going to call it, we're going to go to our gradient panel and give it the same type. Now look at the difference. The gradient applies as if all three objects is a single object. So that goes from blue to pink as opposed to blue to pink, blue to pink, blue to pink on each object. And what's different, so that's what's different about compound paths. Compound paths basically take all the shapes and makes it appear as if it's one. So the interesting thing about compounds, if you take this compound path and using your selection tool V, and if you double click into it, now we're in isolation mode. So we're inside the compound and groups layer and we're inside the compound path. Now if you select one of these objects, notice how it changes the way it's colored, because the gradient goes from blue on the left and pink on the right, and it will just take on the effect of that. All right, so to get out of the isolation mode, you just click on this arrow right here until you get to nothing up here. That's different from groups. If I double click into here and now I'm into the group, boom, I select this object, it doesn't change its gradient at all. It keeps it the way it is. All right, so again, let's get out of the isolation mode. So that's the difference between groups and compound paths. Groups, each individual object, the effect applies to each individual object. For compound paths, the effect applies to all of the objects as if it's one single object.